What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is David Benjamin from Healthy Wild for Eats. Today I'm going to be sharing with you an experiment that I conducted on myself where I tested my metabolism every single day for 6 months straight to improve my fat-burning metabolism. And I had some pretty interesting findings. In fact, I'm going to share with you in this video the worst and the best thing for your metabolic health in terms of fat metabolism. But first things first, before we get into the experiment, I want to share with you some baseline definitions so you understand the information that I'm sharing with you when I get into the results of the experiment. So first things first, your metabolism simply converts calories, your fats, your carbs, things like that, protein, into energy in the form of ATP. ATP is what's produced by your mitochondria. It is quite literally the powerhouse of your cell. So that's what metabolism is. Metabolic rate is the rate at which your metabolism works. So the faster your metabolic rate, the faster your metabolism is converting those calories into energy. And you'll hear things like, for example, I got a fast metabolism. We've all said this before. Maybe we haven't, but a lot of us have said this before. And you will have a fast metabolism, especially when you're young, but as you age, your metabolic rate will slow down because of deficiencies, environmental toxins, and all other sorts of issues. So your metabolic rate very much matters, and it improves your metabolism if it is higher. The third definition I want you to know is your metabolic flexibility. Metabolic flexibility is essentially the difference between glucose and fat-burning metabolism. And this is very important, so pay close attention. Your glucose-burning metabolism is what a lot of people are in. So that would mean you're carb dependent. It would mean your body searches for carbohydrates or sugar in order to sustain, survive, and give your body and your cells energy. Remember, your metabolism is converting your calories into energy. And this is not just for not just physical energy, but this is for your breathing, your respiration, your circulation, and your biological functions of your body. So your metabolism and your metabolic rate and your metabolic flexibility all play a role in the health of converting what you consume into healthy energy as opposed to unhealthy energy, which is the storage of fat. So with that being said, metabolic flexibility is really important, and I want to just harp on this a bit more before I share the results of the experiment. So if you are glucose or carb dependent, what that means is that your body, your metabolism is seeking and searching for carbohydrates or sugars. And when that happens, when you have those cravings and you eat carbohydrates or sugar, what occurs is your body is getting that sugar and then it produces insulin. So you have an insulin spike, which is the hormone that allows that sugar to be absorbed and utilized and converted into energy. But what happens is that insulin is a fat storage hormone, very important. Insulin is a fat storage hormone. In other words, the more sugar you eat, the more your insulin spikes, the more that hormone spikes, the more your body stores fat. So it's a little bit counterintuitive because you would think, if I eat fat, I'm going to eat fat. That's not true. When you are in a fat-burning state, when you eat more fat, your body actually adapts to this and your metabolism becomes better at burning fat. And fat is a more dense calorie, whereas carbohydrates are not as dense calories. So your metabolic fire, your metabolic rate, and your metabolic flexibility increase, and you can burn fat better, you can burn protein better, all these different types of things, which is very valuable for your health overall. So it's important to understand that you want to have metabolic flexibility, meaning you can convert, you can utilize carbs and sugar, you can utilize protein, you can utilize fat, you can use any of these caloric sources for energy, but you want your body to be better at burning fat and protein because carbohydrates are generally pretty easily because they're not that dense of calories. So with that being said, let me share with you the results of my experiment. So I, first and foremost, utilize this device. It's called a lumen, and a lumen tests and tracks your level of carbon dioxide exhalation when you breathe into it. So you simply inhale and then exhale, and then it's connected to an app on your phone, and it tells you your carbon dioxide, well, it doesn't tell you your carbon dioxide rate, but it tells you the fat to glucose burning ratio in a percentage basis, sort of in a chart. And that's really valuable because then you get to know, hey, like this is where my fat burning and this is where my carb burning is at. So this is the device that I used for my experimentation. So I'll link this up below with a discount code if you want to get a lumen for yourself and test and track your metabolism. And to give you a little bit of context for this experiment, I mainly adjusted my macronutrient ratios. So my carbohydrates, protein, and fats, I didn't really get into the weeds with micronutrients. I was more just testing macronutrients because I do believe, based on my testing, that your macronutrient percentage changes play a bigger role in your fat metabolism than your micronutrients overall. I'm not saying micronutrients don't have an impact, but your macronutrients, your fats, your carbs, and your sugar, those three ratios, if you change those and adjust those are going to have a bigger weighted effect on your glucose or fat burning metabolism. So that's what I was playing with and adjusting. So with that being said, I do take a lot of different supplements and a lot of superfoods and nutritional things, and I pay very close attention to what changes occur. So the results of this experiment or this finding actually came in, so I'm going to start with the worst thing. So the worst thing that I experimented with that declined my fat burning metabolism the most was, believe it or not, wine. And I don't actually drink alcohol. A friend I was hanging out with had some wine, and she said, "Hey, do you want some wine?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I had a few glasses of wine. I had 2 glasses of wine. And like I said, I don't drink. So my liver and my metabolism might be a little bit more sensitive to wine. And, essentially what happens when you drink alcohol, it goes for any alcohol, not just wine, is it breaks down into sugar, right? So it's liquid sugar essentially. And liquid sugar is literally the worst for your metabolism because there's no fiber, there's no fats, there's no protein, and these act as buffers that slow the absorption rate of that sugar into your bloodstream. So what happened was I had a few glasses of wine, and I test my metabolism every single morning with the Lumen device. And the next morning, my metabolism, the day before, my metabolism, I'll put it right here on the screen, it was 55% fat burning and 45% carb burning. So it's pretty balanced. It was still kind of close. You want to have even higher fat burning percentage, but it was okay. It was in the good range according to Lumen. It was a number 3. 1 is the best, 3 is kind of in the middle, and 5 is the worst. I had wine that night, okay? And the next morning, my metabolism, get this, was 95% carb burning or sugar burning and only 5% fat burning. So quite literally, I went from 55% burning fat the day before to, what was that? I went from 55%, this is just crazy. I went from 55% fat burning, okay, to 95% carb burning. So there was a 40% gap. In other words, from 55 to 95, there was a 40% change, and my fat metabolism went from 55 to 5, or excuse me, 50%. What am I talking about? It's a 50% change. It's not, that's the wrong direction. It's a 50% change in my fat burning metabolism. So essentially, my fat burning metabolism decreased by half. So that was the worst thing that I personally experimented and tested with my metabolism as far as fat burning metabolism is concerned. So avoid alcohol at all costs. This could be wine or any other form of alcohol. They're going to break down and metabolize in very similar ways. So I don't want to get into the weeds on that. We could, but obviously there's some variation in terms of, the sugar and different alcohols and whatnot. But I would just say it's safe to avoid them. And that also goes for any sugary drinks, sodas, energy drinks. Anything in that category is going to be really bad for your metabolism. Now, the best thing that I utilize for my metabolism, and I routinely would see when I went without this one thing, and then I came back to this one thing, I would routinely see a 20 to 35% increase in my fat burning metabolism. So I would go from say 20 or 30% fat burning metabolism to 30 or 40% fat burning metabolism the next day. Overnight, so a double-digit percentage increase in my fat burning metabolism, not as much as the drop from alcohol, but still a pretty good increase, was utilizing organ meats. Now, there's some specificity within that statement. There's a lot of different organ meat products on the market, and a lot of them have a blend of different organ meats. I specifically utilized one called Organ Complex from Paleo Valley. And the thing I like about this product in particular is there's only 3 ingredients. And the first one is liver, freeze-dried powder, beef, they're all beef, and then heart, and then kidney. The liver is 2,700 milligrams, and then the heart at 540 milligrams, and then the kidneys at 360 milligrams. So this just has a disproportionate amount of freeze-dried liver organ meat, and that being in this formula, I think is amazing because all the other formulas like Heart and Soil and all these other brands, their liver ratios are much lower. There's much less milligrams of liver, and I know that the liver is really valuable. And specific to metabolism, if you're working to improve your metabolic health, you are going to benefit more from Organ Complex from Paleo Valley better than any other supplement, simply because the ratio of liver is that much higher, and your liver is metabolizing your fat and your protein. It's the master metabolism organ. So with that being said, I hope you learned something from this video. Your metabolism is important. It's important to understand your metabolic rate, your metabolic flexibility, so dive more into those topics. And in my 6 months of testing, once again, every single day on the app, I found that wine was the worst thing that declined my fat metabolism from 55% to 5%, a 50% decrease, literally half as effective overnight from 2 glasses of wine. But the most effective thing that I saw over and over routinely was when I would add Organ Complex from Paleo Valley into my diet, because I was getting a high amount of liver organ meats, and these have the bioavailable nutrients that support the health and strength of your liver. So if you want to test for yourself, you can get a Lumen device. I'll put the link again below with a discount code. I do like this device. You can actually test it not only in the mornings, but you can test it pre-workout and utilize it in different ways. And I haven't really explored and experimented with those different mechanisms. So I'm excited to actually utilize this in different ways, because there's a lot of ways you can sort of gauge your metabolism and use that information to your advantage and dial your metabolism in. But now my metabolism is a lot better, simply because of mainly this one supplement, to be honest, and also adjusting my fat and protein ratio. So I start my day with protein. Like, I have protein for breakfast. So if there's 2 pieces of advice I would leave you in this video, is have protein for breakfast instead of carbs, and get 2 or 3 of these in a day. The capsule, they recommend 6. If I get 2 or 3, I notice a difference. I mean, you can do the full dose, but I highly recommend that as well. And your metabolism matters so much. So I hope this video was valuable to you. If you enjoyed it, or if you have questions or comments, leave those below, and subscribe for future videos. I'm going to be doing more health and wellness experimentation, biohacking and biooptimization, performance routines and patterns, and just all different sort of protocols that I utilize, or things that I'm experimenting with that I'm going to share and document with you and share with you here on YouTube. So subscribe below. And if you aren't already subscribed, subscribe to the Healthy Wild Free newsletter at healthywildfree.com. You're going to get 2 free courses, one on sleep health and one on lymphatic health. So I'll put that link below as well. Have a beautiful and blessed day. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.